Mob ties don't run. I'm telling y'all that. Them didn't cancel no show. I did not get canceled. I didn't even have a show.
Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about J. Prince Sr. Now, J. Prince Sr. has been in the news a lot lately, as far as hip-hop news is concerned, right? Now, for those of you who don't know, J. Prince is one of the most famous CEOs in hip-hop right now, man. He's more notably known because of his dealings with Rap-A-Lot Records, but they've had a new label pop up, or I want to say sub-label, called Mob Ties, right? And he's at the head of Mob Ties. And as the head of Mob Ties, it seems like he's still involved in the process as far as, regulating what his sons do and orchestrating talent. Now, they're doing very good with Finesse 2 Times. There's some debate about Honeycomb Brazy because he's in jail right now, and it looks like they might be parting ways in the future. There's rumors, all sorts of things. But as far as developing talent, they have always been at the top when it comes to Rap-A-Lot and J. Prince. One thing that's odd about them is they've always been incorporated in street stuff. It seems like their name has been brought up in street stuff ever since the inception of the label. There's always been rumors about J. Prince operating as kind of the Suge Knight of the South and being sort of the boogeyman in the background. Well, that theory has been challenged a lot recently. First to do that was NBA Youngboy, who kind of, shrugged off J. Prince when J. Prince tried to reel him in and try to, seem like what it seemed like, bring him in to have him under his label or have some sort of representation or contact with him, right? During a situation that happened at NBA Youngboy's crib. But even more recently, you've got people who have been speaking out since the death of Takeoff in Houston. Now, Takeoff lost his life on November 1st, 2022, after a party took place for Jazz Prince where they were celebrating his birthday at a bowling alley, right? Now, after the party was over, I guess there was a dice game involving Quavo, there was an argument that ensued, and then there was some fighting that started off, and then somebody started shooting guns, and Takeoff ended up losing his life as an innocent bystander. Now, most of hip-hop has been in an uproar since this took place, and people have felt like J. Prince and his sons have been disingenuous. And nobody has been more vocal about this than none other than Charleston White. Well, it looks like today, J. Prince is speaking back to Charleston White and trying to respond to him while also trying to limit his contributions to hip-hop. Now, before we get to the specifics and talk about all the things that J. Prince has said and all the things that Charleston White has said within just the last week, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Now, this guy right here, Charleston White, has been shaking hip-hop up, man, because he's saying some things that people are scared to say out there. And he's one of those people who doesn't bite his tongue. He's been on the offensive when it comes to J. Prince as well. Seems like he's been dissing him back and forth, and J. Prince has not responded or said anything. You can see numerous videos that Charleston White put on social media where he's going at J. Prince and Mob Ties and tells them to their face, or at least through social media, that he feels like they ain't as bad as they profess.
Dirty, and I'm gonna tell J. Prince this here. You can suck my. I'm telling Mob Ties, Rap-A-Lot, y'all can. Do y'all hear that woman's voice? Do y'all hear the pain in that woman's voice? Now you been knowing this was a goddamn kids event for over a month, but because J. Prince, because I refused to sit down with you, y'all called my manager and I told you I ain't sitting down with no. Now all of a sudden the mayor's office is getting calls. So you mean to tell me you go put kids' life in jeopardy? Y'all calling the mayor's office and say, man, when we know it's a kids event and he speak, we go hurt him at a kids event. That's why I hate you coward mob. That's why I hate you coward gangsters around him and his goddamn sons. So let's get the FBI in on this, James. Since you so bad, where you can shut down youth events, you ain't that bad. Shut your up. Quit crying. And I ain't never sitting down with no like you.
Now, recently, Charleston White had an appearance in Houston, Texas, and it was widely publicized that he was going to be in Houston the house of Jay Prince and Rap-A-Lot Records, and he said he was going to go there and leave untouched. Now, there was a lot of confusion in this situation. First, it was reported that Charleston White had a show. He came out to say, no, I didn't have a show there. It was actually an appearance at a kids event that I was just going to show up and do some kind of community activism work, right? But regardless of those details, Charleston White's event was canceled for him, right? They still had the event, but Charleston White could not show up because it would have been a danger to people at the event. And Charleston White said that this was told to him by Houston PD and the mayor's office that, yo, we couldn't do anything for you. You have a problem with Jay Prince, then that's your problem, pretty much.
James Prince. Houston Police Department sound like a bunch of bitches to me. I see why Rap-A-Lot run that. No wonder they mob ties. No wonder everybody got to check in, y'all. Now, I'm checking in with the police department. Police department told me, hey, man, you got a problem with Mr. James Prince. Austin, we hear you got a problem with James Prince. Man, we scared of him. I swear to God, y'all, I just got the call from the Houston's mayor's office and the gang unit police department in Houston, Texas. They are scared of fire to Rap-A-Lot. And this is what I'm telling the Houston police department. Y'all can my too. F Houston.
And Charleston White went to social media to go on a tirade for days after days after days about his disappointment in Houston and how he's upset that somebody would affect him going to a kids event to do some community activism work, man. He was very vocal about the fact. Now, after saying what he said about that situation, he doubled down some more and talked about Jay Prince because he didn't like the idea of Jay Prince and mob ties thinking that they ran him out of town. So he went to a shooting range, it looks like, where he was basically showing off his guns, let it be known that he's ready to get down with whoever's ready to get down with him.
Mob ties don't run. I'm telling y'all that. Them didn't cancel no show. I did not get canceled. I didn't even have a show. Somebody tag ESG and all the Rap-A-Lot riders. Somebody get them Rap-A-Lot riders in here. Nah, that ain't Prince, nor his punk nor his fictitious mob group stopped me from coming to Houston. No, they didn't. They didn't stop them. I didn't even have a show. It was a youth mentoring day with OG1 and Miss Pal. The Jay Prince and his fictitious mob ties. Mob ties. We just right up the street from one another.
You know, he's an interesting character because sometimes the comedy seeps in and out in such a way that you don't know if he's joking or being serious, but regardless of the fact, he seems funny. Now, on Jay Prince's side of things, they've been relatively quiet when communicating with Charleston White. Now, Charleston White said on social media that they wanted to meet with him at his office or whatnot, and Charleston White wasn't going for that. Like, think about that, man. If Charleston White was to try to meet with Jay Prince and maybe his sons or something to have a civil conversation, what's stopping that from turning to a non-civil conversation and him being on the bad end of that? So out of his own safety, I'm guessing he said, nah, I will not meet with them. And he was vocal about he doesn't want to meet with Jay Prince Jr. and his sons regardless. And he continued to diss them. And it seemed like Jay Prince Jr., Jay Prince, and anybody at Mob Ties, they were not going to reply to Charleston White. But a post that Jay Prince just recently put on his social media page, it looks like he's trying to reply to all the people who are dissing him because they also have a situation going on with Offset, right? Now, Offset, one of the members of the Migos, he's actually related to Takeoff in some way. There's a lot of debate about that. I think they're cousins in some way, right? And he's the only person who's spoken out from Takeoff's side or from at least the Atlanta side of things to say that he wasn't happy about how things went down with Takeoff. Now, some might be confused. And when I say went down, I mean the fact that Takeoff and Quavo were supposed to be under the care and protection of Mob Ties and Jay Prince Jr. and Jazz Prince. So how does one of them, one of the biggest stars in hip hop, end up dead at the end of the night? And it seemed like the only people who had a problem with this or were vocal about this were Charleston White and Offset. Offset basically went back and forth with Jay Prince about what went down and them not reaching out to him and just basically taking what they heard on the street and putting that online when Offset wasn't speaking about it publicly. And it seemed like Jay Prince was more worried about what Offset was saying than what really happened. You know what I mean? They went on $1 million worth of game podcast, tried to tell their side of the story while also putting somebody on full blast who they believe was responsible for the whole situation. So it's an interesting situation to take place, right? Now, Charleston White, he loves a good fight, especially online. He loves a good argument, you know? And he usually comes out on the positive end. He usually comes out as a winner. But in the situation in Houston, I think what made him so mad is because he ended up looking like the guy who didn't get the better of everyone, right? Now, what's crazy about this is time has gone by. Charleston White is actually talking about other people right now. Like he's talking about Boosie right now. He's talking about other things. But it seems like Jay Prince finally wanted to put out there what he thinks about this whole situation. Okay, so as you see in this post right here, it's very short and to the point. Now, Jay Prince starts off by saying, "I'm not here to debate with just anyone. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach." Now, this is some slight shade, right? Because basically, if this is directed at Charleston White, he's saying that, he only debates with his equals. He's letting it be known that you have to be on his equal playing field for him in order for him to even engage with you, in order for him to even speak to you. You see what I'm saying? And Charleston White, yes, he's an up-and-coming comedian. He's very, very hot right now in hip-hop, like as far as media is concerned. You see his interviews, they all go viral. Lots of sound clips here and there and everywhere. A lot of things around Charleston White. Like, he's the guy that people are looking at right now, right? And he still feels like, Charleston White is not his equal because Jay Prince has been in the hip-hop game for a relatively long time. Very, very long time, to be real. Not even relative, just very long time. And he's seen a lot of people come and go, and maybe he doesn't look at Charleston White as somebody he needs to speak with. But what's wild about this, Charleston White said that Jay Prince, they tried to reach out to set up a meeting between them. So this might not be what you think it is. He might not even be aiming this at Charleston White. He might be talking about Takeoff. Maybe he doesn't look at Takeoff in that same light as well. Now, by him saying all others I teach, you could take that how you want. Most people would say that, he's saying that he would teach them a lesson in a good way. That could also be he could teach you a lesson in a bad way. But regardless, it looks like he made this tweet at like 1 o'clock in the morning and decided to double back and put it on his Instagram page so that everybody could see what was on his mind. And I'm guessing a lot of people were like, okay, that's profound. That's a deep way to look at things. But that doesn't change the fact that somebody lost their life. And that doesn't change the fact that everybody is looking at the Prince family like they handled this wrong. Like, it seems like by bringing Offset into it and making it seem like Offset is somehow the bad guy, actually helping draw a rift between Quavo and Offset even more, even though they already had an issue going on back and forth. It just seemed like not the boss way of handling this situation. There's things that took place that can't be taken back. Nobody can bring Takeoff back. That is a sad situation and a travesty to happen, right? But the way that it was handled afterwards, the long waits, the putting the paperwork out there, it just left a bad taste in some people's mouth. But it seems like Jay Prince is trying to rectify all that by putting it out here that, he's a thinking man and that in some ways he's going to have to be reserved and choose his battles correctly. That's what I get from this post right here. Now, Charleston White will probably see this post and understand the message in that, but I'm wondering what you guys think about this. Do you think that Jay Prince in this post is letting it be known that, hey, man, when it comes to these street things and when it comes to this stuff, I'm basically going to take the back seat and let people know that I'm a little too big or too high on the totem pole just to be squabbling and debating and getting in the mud with everybody. Because Charleston White loves for people to get in the mud with him. That's a big part of his branding, to be real with you. People get in the mud with him. He goes back and forth with them, and it's a lot of interesting interactions. You know what I mean? And most times he comes out on the better. And it seems like Jay Prince with this post is saying he's not willing to do that and that otherwise he'll try to teach. Now, you can take for what you want when he says teach, but it could be taken in a negative way. Y'all tell me what you think. Do you think that Jay Prince is putting this out here as a message for Offset and for Charleston White? Or do you think this is just a general message for anyone who has any dealing with mob ties or with the Prince family in the future? Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.